Hello all and welcome back to the woods at Lone Pine Tarot. I hope you're having a wonderful day wherever you are. For today's reading topic, I was inspired by something that's actually been happening a lot this year for me. I keep finding surprise plants growing where I didn't expect. Well, for example, one was a black walnut tree, another was a mulberry, and so on, and it's just really odd, and I'm like, why do I keep finding these really cool plants? And obviously, the physical answer is animals. Like the black walnut, probably just a squirrel planted it there, forgot about it, it grew the next spring. But still, it made me think of how sometimes in life we turn around and we look at something we haven't paid attention to in a while, and lo and behold, there's something good there that we were not expecting. So that's what's guiding our reading today, that joy of discovery and unexpected happy surprises coming soon for you. With that being said, let's choose our piles now. We have both pile leader cards and objects today. Over here on the left for pile 1, you have not only, of course, the Pinecone, but the card of Daisy, number 25. In the middle for pile 2, your object is the Antler whistle with the card of Dandelion. And last but not least for pile 3, your object today is the very beautiful Seashell and the pile leader card of the Birch tree. Pause here, of course, if you need an extra moment to decide what pile you are drawn to most, but when you're ready, your timestamp is waiting in the description. I'll see you in your reading. Hi there, pile number 1. Welcome to your reading on the beautiful thing that is quietly growing in your life. And of course, as you recall, you were drawn to either the Pinecone as the object or the Daisy card as your pile leader. So we'll set your Pinecone. I'm actually going to put it up here for now. We might adjust it later. And we'll put your Daisy card over here to the left. And let's begin with drawing a combination of Tarot and Lenormand cards to get a first glimpse into this beautiful thing, or perhaps even multiple beautiful things that are entering your life soon. So, calling on Spirit for your highest, best good. Spirit, can you tell me more about pile 1's wonderful thing coming along they're not expecting? Thank you. Okay, first up to bat we have, the ship. And then we have, for the second Lenormand, the snake, and specifically the shedding snake, which is a little bit different than the traditional snake in Lenormand, in that it tends to represent renewal, something new coming along, rebirth, because of that symbolism with the shedding of the skin. And then we'll grab some tarot cards to get a little bit more clarity on these two different things. Okay, I think that literally is 2 cards already, so we will take those. Thank you, Spirit. First up to bat, we have the Page of Swords. And then the second tarot card here is the 9 of Wands, but reversed. And actually, we'll put the Pinecone over your Daisy for a moment. Okay, so we have a story here of 2 different beautiful things. I'm kind of seeing these as 2 distinctly separate so to speak, blooms that were growing without you expecting them. Number 1, pile 1, is the ship in Lenormand tends to represent a journey of some sort, taking a voyage somewhere. Some of you, it might literally be related to an actual physical trip. And especially with the Page of Swords upright, that tends to be a time when we're exploring the intellectual side of life, we're exploring ideas, we're exploring, sometimes it can even mean related to like university or related to college or classes, teaching and whatnot, both on the side of you being the teacher or the student. It can, most of the time, I guess, leaning more towards student because of the youthfulness of the page, but I do see it as sometimes like a teacher thing too, especially if you're new to teaching. So I wonder, for some of you, there's something beautiful coming along that's related to some sort of journey that you're taking, whether it be physical or an internal one. It doesn't have to be like a literal vacation or move somewhere, but it could be for some of you. That is related to those areas of life. And I think by this, or these cards coming up, I should say, this is, I'm hearing intuitively, something that's going to go well, especially if you already kind of know this thing is coming. So it's not so much the unexpected part being, you know, like if you've already planned ahead for this and you're kind of like, okay, I know what that is in my life. I know what's going on with that. The unexpected part of it is it's going to go well. Especially, I wonder if some of you have been kind of nervous about that new exploration or like voyage thing lately. Like, you know, if you are soon going to teach classes for the first time, you know, either in a university setting or not, doesn't matter. You know, a lot of times we can get a little bit anxious about, you know, how's it going to go? Will the students respect me, etc. I think they're going to like you a lot, pile one, if you find that that resonates with your situation, because I think you're going to reach them on their level. You're going to come off as someone who gets them and has like been in the trenches where they are, or like learned the same exact things that they have at the level that they're learning. I think you're really good at relating to other people and connecting to other people. And even if you're listening to this and you're like, I have no teaching thing or student thing coming up or classes, it's a journey of learning something that is going to go very well here in the near future. So just keep that in mind as the general part of the message. And then on the other side, we have the shedding snake and the Nine of Wands reversed. So typically Nine of Wands reversed would be a negative card, because it would mean, oh, we're burnt out, we're losing our fight, we're losing a war of sorts, you know, and a war can be obviously many different things. It can be a long extended period of time with struggling with a job, or struggling with a goal that feels like it hasn't really been coming to fruition yet, etc. So many different things. But the beauty with the shedding snake combined with that is that you're going to shed that thing. You're going to let go of that frustration, and you're going to be able to let go of that burnout and let go of that feeling of losing with the thing that has been frustrating you in that area of life in the near future. Okay, so it's, as I said, there's kind of like two different things popping out, and there might even be more with your other oracle cards, or your other tarot cards, I should say, too. So we'll of course draw those as well, but I also wanted to talk about your daisy. I don't want to forget that before we go on. Now, the daisy card in the seed and sickle oracle is a card of, number one, productivity. It's also a card of getting a second wind. Especially, I think that's related a lot to this determination and shedding something, and having a renewal of sorts with the thing that's been frustrating you, or you feel as if you've been like losing. Okay, that's very similar in synchronicity with the meaning. So definitely think that is a double confirmation from spirit that that thing that you've been frustrated with, you've been wanting to shed, you've been wanting to seek a new beginning with, that's coming to an end, and you're going to see that new beginning and that new chapter with it, because of that beautiful symbolism of the daisy. But on top of that, it's a card of things being not too late and nothing ever really truly being gone, sometimes appearing in a different form. I think, if I remember correctly, I think it's Irish or Celtic folklore in general, where they believe that the spirits of, I think it's dead children, reincarnate as daisies, and that's why that meaning comes forward. So once again, if you are in, like, say, a teaching position, or you're looking forward to that, or a student position, something like that, that just makes me think of that meaning with, you know, the children being like the new form, and the daisy, like their spirits, right? Where it's like, I mean, a lot of you, it makes me think of like you were once the student and now you're the teacher in some way. Even if it doesn't literally mean in a classroom setting, it can mean as well something going very well in terms of like you teaching somebody else something, even if it's not, like I said, in that classroom setting. Oh, there goes your pine cone. Throwing your pine cone everywhere. Uh-oh. I don't want that to go flying, right? We'll put that back on the daisy. Now let's grab some of your other cards. We do have the next oracle deck to pull. So summarizing so far, we're releasing frustrations and new chapters with something we've been feeling as if we're losing, or losing determination with, and then something going well where you're going to be exploring teaching or learning something. Okay, I'm feeling drawn to this one. We have empowerment. What a wonderful card with the number 45 here. Empowerment. I'm actually going to draw a clarifier on that one, because empowerment can mean many different things, pile one, as we all know. I think, especially in these areas where you have been lacking confidence lately. Oh, there's your card again. Your cards are just flying out quite fast with tarot today. We have the Emperor reversed as the first one. But what I was going to say before it came flying out was, I think especially in areas of life where you felt a lack of confidence lately is where a lot of this positive turn is going to come around. Either it be related to the thing that you feel like you're losing or burning out on, and then, as I said too, with the classroom or teacher thing, okay? But we do have the Emperor reverse, which tends to mean areas of life where we feel as if there's been a lack of structure, or there's been a lack of authority, a lack of power. And then we have Wonderful. The Wheel of Fortune, things going in our favor, something being fated. That's another interpretation of the Wheel of Fortune, pile 1. So empowerment is related to an area of your life, too, where you feel as if you have been lacking structure, or you feel like as it's been something that is out of your control in terms of, like, putting guardrails around it. That's a really good term to use with the Emperor reversed, because it's that masculine energy of keeping things under control and keeping things safe and protected. So where you've been feeling a lack of that lately, that's another positive, beautiful thing coming that you're not expecting. You're going to see luck with that, especially when it comes to empowerment. You're going to have something that comes along that empowers you to feel as if you have the ability and the authority, because that's another keyword with the Emperor too, have the authority to, I guess I'm hearing intuitively, it's like exerting more control over areas of your life. I feel as if they're showing me like a roller coaster. And I think for you, pile 1, life has been such a roller coaster lately that is out of your control. It's like maybe you even sit down at the end of every single day and you're like, oh my God, I feel like I don't have control over the highs. I don't have control over the lows, the mountains and the valleys, etc. And it's like now you're entering in this new phase. Speaking of that with the shedding snake with rebirth, you're entering in this new phase where you'll have the capability, you'll be empowered where you were not before, to control more of the highs and the lows. There are going to be less external factors here in the near future, I think, that are out of your control. You're going to be able to kind of put things more on rails in terms of, okay, now we have guardrails for this thing. It's almost like if you ever play bowling and you've ever played bowling with the bumpers. It's like before there were absolutely no bumpers, and now it's like, okay, those things come up and it's like I feel like you're going to feel as if there's like a greater guarantee of success whenever you throw that ball, or whenever you continuing with the metaphor in a literal sense, whenever you throw that attempt at something down the road. And I think naturally that's going to make you feel as if you're less tired. It's going to feel like it's a new chapter because it just feels so different from the last one that was frustrating, right? And on top of that, it's, I don't know. I think a lot of it is because of a voyage of some sort. As I said, it doesn't have to be literal. It doesn't have to be physical, pile 1. Some of you it might be, though. Like, it's such a voyage and such a journey beyond where you have been. Okay? Like, it's so different. It feels like a new world to you. Okay. Well, let's look at your main tarot cards, too. We'll see if there's any themes reflected or expanded upon. Wonderful. Great things so far. There also might be some other things that you're not expecting that are blooming beautifully that you'll turn around and find soon. So see what Spirit has to say. We have, first up to bat, the Four of Wands reversed. Okay. That can mean we were operating from an area or energy of a lack of stability, or feeling like things were not very celebratory, because celebration is a really good keyword to use with the Four of Wands when it's upright. Okay. It's often a card, too, where we felt as if, especially in the home, I wonder if a lot of that security might have been related to the home. Like maybe, I don't know, if some of you had some security issues with your living space recently, then I would say I feel intuitively based on these cards that that's also going to turn around, and that will also offer you more of that feeling of control. Okay. And then we have the Judgment card, leveling up, a whole new world. You know what I mean? I was saying that before, pile 1, where it was like, it feels like a whole new world, a whole new voyage to a completely new place. And the Judgment card is often kind of that energy, especially this particular interpretation in the Spacious Tarot. Wonderful deck. I love this particular Judgment card because it shows it like a portal. It's like going to an absolutely new dimension. Okay, so things are going to quite change a lot, but in a good way. Okay, it's like things leveling up. And I think a lot of your focus recently has been leveling up. A lot of your focus in the recent past, especially because that's the position that card is in, has been, how do I get beyond this place where I feel like I lack this control, or I feel like I lack this progress, or it feels like I'm not empowered to control the direction of things, okay? And your efforts are going to be paid off. You're going to get rewarded for that effort by the universe here, pile 1, because of everything you've been putting into finding this new chapter. It's not necessarily, I mean, like, there's a little bit of a fate element here with the Wheel of Fortune, especially with the empowered part and the security part, but a lot of it really is on the merit of your own efforts here, is what I'm saying, or what I was trying to illustrate earlier. It's like you have put in the effort because you felt a lack of stability, like you knew with that Four of Wands reversed energy at the very beginning, the inciting incident, I call that card's position, like you knew, like, this is ho-hum, I feel like there's nothing to be celebrated here, or I feel like there's this lack of stability, and so now you're going to level up, and or at least you've already kind of been working on it with the Judgment card in the recent past, but let's keep going. And then we have the Six of Wands reversed. Okay, so I think a lot of you might still be in the present position, because that's the middle card, and also the overarching theme, okay? A lot of you might still be in that feeling as if I have not won yet. That's usually what the Six of Wands reversed is all about. So even though I think you've already made some progress, you might not have seen the external validation or like external evidence of that quite yet, pile one. I think this is why this, you know, but the topic of the reading is what I'm trying to say is it's a beautiful thing that is quietly growing in your life. You're not expecting it, okay? So a lot of you might be sitting there thinking, well, this all sounds good and well, but I feel as if, like, the things that I've been working on that you've been talking about, Lone Pine Tarot, there's no, like, where's the external evidence here? And that's the thing, is right now with that Six of Wands reversed in the present position, yes, it feels as if you have not won yet. But remember, Judgment came before it, and Judgment is that level up card. You've already been doing level ups towards these better things, these beautiful plot twists, because of that effort that you put in, okay? Pile one. And also the Six of Wands reversed as an overarching theme can mean that a lot of what's going to turn around is this feeling of a lack of victory in your life lately. Okay, so it's going to turn the course more towards greater victory, even though right now with it being reversed in the present position you might not feel it quite yet. So let's keep going. Then we have the Ten of Wands reversed. Beautiful. This is especially relevant to that Nine of Wands reversed we saw earlier, where it's like, okay, I'm burnt out, I'm ready to give up, I feel like I lost the war, etc. This is all about releasing burdens. It's all about things getting better in terms of, as I said, burnout, in terms of, you know, like, I'm trying to think of a good example. Like, say if it's a job that you have been really burnt out with, it's like that's finally going to release. That's that new lease with the rebirth with the snake. It's to the burden of feeling of that lack of control that you had earlier. Like, now that you're going to get more of that control, you'll have more of that empowerment. When more is under your control, the more that you can prevent things from overburdening you. And I wonder if actually some of you might be thinking about being self-employed rather than employed by, say, a company or for other people, because that's kind of what I feel like this. It's a venture and you're learning a lot, because remember the ship and the Page of Swords. It's like you're a student but you're a teacher at the same time, but there's just more in your control that's going to pay off here. Yeah, I don't know. I'm feeling intuitively a lot of you, this is like a self-employment journey here. Okay, because you had a hard time with that feeling of a lack of control wherever you were before, okay? But in general, yes, burdens are going to be lessened. That is the overall message of the Ten of Wands reversed in the near future position. And then, last but not least, we have the Nine of Swords. Okay, this one's kind of a tricky one, because the Nine of Swords typically represents anxiety. Literally, we have this poor little mouse here sitting here with 9 swords pointing at it, of course. A little bit of a nerve-wracking situation. As an outcome, I actually think this might be twisted a little bit more towards advice with these beautiful things, pile one. We already talked about the beautiful things that are coming that you're not expecting. This is more spirit saying with this card, however, asterisk, you're still going to be anxious about it, okay? There are opportunities here in the near future for you to look under the hood. Look at things a little bit closer when your anxiety ramps up about, okay, am I getting the victories yet? Am I making the progress yet? Am I getting more empowered and have more control over this destiny more yet? Okay, when you get those anxieties, Spirit is saying, remember, anxiety is not always the truth of the situation. Look at where your burdens have lessened with that Ten of Wands reversed, remember, okay? Look at areas of this thing or this goal or thing that you've been doing, etc., where you feel as if you have more control over your life and over the outcomes of things than you did before, okay? And looking under the hood with those questions and those focuses, those themes, etc., I think will help reduce that anxiety, because there's more going on that's going well than you're giving yourself credit for, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Okay, so just keep that in mind, pile 1. All right. Be wary of anxiety. Sometimes, this is a really, really prominent theme with the Nine of Swords, sometimes the anxieties are really just that. Just our minds growing out of control. And so that makes me think, too, with the Page of Swords we had at the very beginning. A Page of Swords hasn't mastered the mind yet. It's still the very first court card with the air suit in tarot with swords, right? But there's someone who's learning to tame the mind and master the mind, okay? And I think for you, too, interpreting that with the Nine of Swords on top of the Page of Swords with the ship, part of this journey is that internal journey as well of you mastering more of that anxiety too. I think it is a very prominent part of your life right now, milestone wise, in terms of like life plan, at least in my personal belief with life lessons and life plans, etc. Because of the Wheel of Fortune being that fate card, that you're supposed to learn this lesson right now about reducing anxiety, okay, and paying attention to victories that are quieter and not so much the ones that are very loud, okay? So it's good to celebrate the loud ones, too, don't get me wrong, okay? And I wonder if that's, too, maybe why the Four of Wands reversed came out earlier, because it's like a lack of celebration. That's one of the interpretations of the Four of Wands reversed, and I'm like, pile 1, are you giving yourself enough pat on the back for the small victories? Yes, you might not have seen the external evidence of a big victory yet, hence the Six of Wands reversed in the present position. But that doesn't mean that they aren't there, okay? So pat yourself on the back for at least one little thing every day regarding this process that you've been going through, regarding these goals that you've been trying to attain, okay? And then, too, one last thing. Going back to the daisy where we talked about it meaning productivity. It means you have been productive, pile 1, okay? More than you know. And on top of that, remember the other meaning of the daisy was about having a second wind, or nothing is ever really fully lost or gone. So recently, too, if you have lost something, or you feel as if, oh, there's no way that thing will return. Remember, you have that meaning of nothing's ever fully lost with the daisy, but also the snake is about rebirth and things renewing their cycles, okay? So keep an eye out for that. I think that's one final beautiful thing you're not expecting, is something coming along where it's going to get a second wind that you don't expect. It might return in a way you don't expect. And you're like, oh, I thought that was completely done. I thought there was no way that I could return to that. But then, like a boomerang, finally it does return back to you. Okay, so I'll leave you with that today for your reading, pile 1. That was your message about the beautiful thing, or, well, for you, plural things, quietly growing in your life soon, or kind of right now already in the background. If you liked the message, if it resonated, if it helped you in any way, please like, please comment, and please subscribe to Lone Pine Tarot if you haven't done so already. And thank you so much if you choose to do any one of those things, if not more than one today at the end of your reading. And as we say in our tradition on the channel, I wish you a wonderful rest of your day or your night. And I hope to see you again in the woods someday soon. Bye, pile 1. Hello there, my wonderful pile 2. Welcome to your reading on the beautiful thing quietly growing in your life. And of course, as you recall, you were drawn to either the Antler whistle as an object or the beautiful Dandelion as a pile leader card. So we'll put your Antler whistle, maybe, let's see. Actually, we'll put the Dandelion over here to the left, and we'll put the Antler whistle right on top of it. And we're going to begin with a mix of Lenormand and tarot cards. So, calling on Spirit for the highest best good of pile 2 today. Could you tell me a little bit more about beautiful things quietly growing in their life that they're not expecting? Thank you. Okay, this one really prominently wanted to come out, so we'll draw that. We have the Coffin or Crypt, which I know sounds grisly at first, but hear me out. Usually means the end of something. So something coming to an end. And then the second Lenormand card today for you. Ooh, is the Fox. Oopsie. Couldn't get a handle on it. We have the Fox looking over the trout stream. And that usually means being clever in some way or something smart or crafty. And then we'll draw tarot clarifiers on those. Okay, clarifier Spirit, thank you. Yeah, it's interesting that you got the coffin or the crypt as your first card today, pile 2, because it's kind of relevant to the dandelion. The dandelion is a card of the winds of change coming along and whisking you kind of in unexpected directions, but I think those winds of change are things that are going to end something that you have been wanting to come to an end, okay? But let's, of course, get that clarifier to be sure. We have, interesting, pile 1 had the Page of Swords as their first tarot card today, too. I guess it's kind of a communal energy today with the Page of Swords. Maybe a lot of us have been students or teachers recently. And then with the fox, we have the Fool, cute little turtle baby. Beautiful. So yes, as I said, the dandelions related to the coffin or the crypt. I think at least the first beautiful thing coming along for you is that change, as I said, that's going to end something that you want to come to an end. And specifically because of the Page of Swords having come out as a clarifier for those two cards, or especially the crypt, the thing coming to an end is it's either related to something that you have been learning or something that you have been teaching or some sort of phase of your life where you have been either a student or a teacher. Now, some of you might say, well, I have not been a student or a teacher recently, which is, totally normal. Some of you, it might literally mean you have been, right? Some of you, it might be just a phase of life recently where you feel as if you have gone through a grueling class, so to speak, or you have had to be a teacher to somebody, okay? Even if it's not, as I said, in the literal sense. Either way, I think that is what's coming to an end soon. And it might kind of happen unexpectedly. I mean, obviously that's kind of inherently in the title of this reading. It's an unexpected, beautiful thing. But at the same time, because of the dandelion being that wind of change, like the wind literally coming along and carrying the seeds of the dandelion, you don't really know where you're going to land, just like those dandelion seeds. It's kind of, oftentimes we associate dandelions with wishes too. So I see it as a positive thing, though. It's not like a negative wind of change. It's, as the title says, the reading, a beautiful thing. Okay. Also being able to move forward finally. Maybe you feel as if you've been having struggles with ending a certain chapter in your life recently. Well, then this reading basically is saying that thing will finally end and you'll be able to move forward. Okay. So forward momentum, I guess, is just a really good way to summarize that first message. Now, the other beautiful thing, interesting, we have the fox, as I said. It's about being clever. It's about someone who is perhaps clever, very smart. Could be you, pile 2, too, because especially combined with the Page of Swords, that tends to tell me you might be an air sign. You might be someone who's quite clever, quite witty, quite intelligent, of course, right? But at the same time, too, it can also mean an area of life where we've had to be kind of crafty or clever, or it could be something coming along that is born on the wings of being crafty or clever, okay? And especially with the Fool, that usually means it's about a new beginning. So not only do we have an ending of an old chapter with the crypt card or the coffin card, we have a new beginning with the Fool card on top of it. So it's just like a double whammy, synchronous kind of message, a double reinforcement and reassurance from Spirit that yes, this thing is finally going to come to an end. It's like, okay, thank God I'm done with that period of time in my life, and now I can move along to this new thing, born, as I said, on the wings of you being clever and your intelligence. So it's something you've also very much so earned, pile 2. That's what Spirit is telling you with this, is that you have earned this through your intelligence, through your mettle of your mind, okay? And on top of that, through your capability to come up with ideas. That's another really good message with both the Fox and Page of Swords. Through your ability to learn, okay? You've learned the lesson that you were supposed to in this past chapter, all right? And that is why you're finding this win or this progress now, okay? So just to summarize so far, a lot of positive change after things that you really wanted to come to an end finally come to an end. But let's keep going with your other cards. We'll see what else pops up for you, pile 2. I'm excited to see. We have the Nature's Whispers Oracle next. Spirit, what else do you want to tell them about these beautiful things that have been quietly growing in their life? What else has been quietly growing? We have make a decision, kind of a 2 of Swords message here. Number 11, okay. Make a decision, being caught between 2 different worlds. I'm going to draw a clarifier on that because I'm very curious. I don't know if you've been agonizing over a decision recently, pile 2, or if you've been feeling as if you had to pick one road, and it's like this beautiful thing is you're able to kind of choose both. But we'll see what happens with the tarot cards. Spirit, could you clarify the make a decision for me? Thank you. And I feel like it's a path between something very structured and organized or expected and something kind of wild and unexpected. That's what I'm feeling off of that card, but we'll see. We have the Eight of Pentacles reversed. Something to do with lacking hard work or something being less work. And then we have the Page of Wands reversed. Another page. Cute little red panda. Page of Wands reversed. Yes, it's like... Pile 2. Have you been kind of burned out a lot recently? Or you've been lacking passion for exploring the things that you are or were passionate about because you've been working too hard? I say that because the Eight of Pentacles reversed can mean a card that indicates needing to work harder, but especially with the Page of Wands reversed, that makes me think of somebody who has worked so hard that they've lost like their youthful spark or enthusiasm for something, okay? So there's something beautiful coming along too, quietly, that helps you reinvigorate that energy. And it's something to do with the decision that you make. I think it's, for most of you, it's going to be the decision to choose the new and leave the old behind, which, as I said, is kind of already that natural turn of, you know, your path coming ahead because of everything that you've been doing through your intelligence and your ideas and your ability to withstand everything difficult that's been going on. And two, the same thing with the winds of change with the Dandelion. It's kind of unexpected, right? That winds of change come along. Sometimes it's scary, but at the same time, we land in a place that's much better. I wonder if you even might have taken a risk or you're considering taking a risk. So maybe that's why you feel like you've had to be really clever. You're like, I got to be smart about this. I got to be really witty and clever about what I do with this. And I think that's really going to pay off here for you, Pile 2. So I will say this. You might have made the decision or you're considering making the decision for a more surface level reason, but the beautiful thing coming quietly out of it is that it's going to reinvigorate your spark that you lost because of burnout or because of working too hard on something else or say like a job or something like that, okay? So just keep that in mind. It's another beautiful thing coming. Kind of an unexpected silver lining, I guess, is how I would describe that one. And then let's look at your main tarot cards. We'll draw those right now. So Spirit for Pile 2, same thing. Can you show us the timeline as well as maybe other beautiful things or expand on them? Thank you. What other beautiful things are coming along? Where have they been? Where are they going? We have the Ten of Cups reversed. Okay, so as the inciting incident card, this is telling me that this is the energy that you came from, Pile 2. Ten of Cups reversed is not very happy. This is a card of, we have not had our happily ever after. We feel as if what we expected in terms of happiness and emotional fulfillment was not met. Okay, so I think maybe that's what caused a lot of this burnout and what caused a lot of you wanting to end this thing, because you're like, you know what? I'm not happy here. This doesn't match what my soul desires. This is not what I thought it would be. That's why you're being encouraged, and I think you've already been walking towards or considering this new direction with the Fool and a new beginning, a new chapter, because you realized I'm not happy. That's the Ten of Cups reverse energy. But let's keep going. We'll see what else pops out here for you. We have, yes, okay, the Six of Swords. Very fitting, kind of repetitive, but it's good to see those synchronicities because it reminds us that, yes, we're on the right track with what's been interpreted so far. And the Six of Swords, my friends, is often a card of journeying, moving to greener pastures, moving somewhere better. You can even see in this particular depiction. The Six Swords, of course, are in the foreground, but in the background after the storm, which might have been a snowstorm, looks like it being a winter card, there is a break of light. There is relief. There is, thank God, that is over. So being in the recent past card, I wonder if a lot of you have already actually ended something or you've already at least made the decision to do so. Because of that, you're like, I already know I want to move on. I already know I want to get somewhere better. And that Six of Swords card tells me that, yes, after the winds of change, just like that little dandelion fluff, that wind, that seed that kind of gets whisked up and you're not sure quite where you're going to land, Pile 2. You're going to land in sunshine. Okay, but let's keep going. We'll look at the main cards here, like the Heart of the Matter card with the middle one. Oh, we have the Four of Cups reversed. Very fitting for this kind of reading, because the Four of Cups reversed is kind of like what the title of this reading is all about. It's all about something that you're not expecting that you finally notice, because the Four of Cups reversed is, typically upright, it's about apathy or like, we didn't notice something, but reversed is like, oh, boom, we turn around and we realize that it's there. So for those of you that have not seen the happy things that I've been describing so far yet, you have a card of finally noticing quiet things in your present position card. Okay, so I think you're just on the cusp of a lot of these good things coming. It could be today, it could be within like the next week or month or so. You're very close based on that being the present position card. But it's also, I read the middle card as the overarching theme of the whole reading. And so another beautiful thing is a life or a new chapter that's going to allow you to recognize or see things more clearly and faster. Okay, I feel like because you were bogged down by so many stresses and everything going on in that old chapter that you just were not happy with, hence, the Ten of Cups reversed, that sometimes when we get bogged down with unhappiness and stresses, it makes us blind to a lot of other things. We're blind to other blessings. We're blind to silver linings. Sometimes we can even be blind to opportunities because we're just like, oh man, I'm so bogged down with this thing. I got to figure this thing out. I'm burnt out here, that we don't realize, wait a minute, what about this beautiful thing over here? Or what about, it kind of makes me think, going with the metaphor that I was describing in the beginning, in the intro, where I talked about how recently in my life, I've been finding like these random plants in gardens I didn't expect, like the mulberry and the black walnut and even milkweed the other day I found too. I did not plant there. I was like, where the heck did that come from? Must have been on the wind, speaking of, dandelion seeds too. But so I feel like at this point in your life, pile two, it's like this beautiful thing is you were working on a garden that was so hard to maintain. Like it just required so many resources that, as I said, it was hard to notice those silver linings or blessings of things growing behind you that didn't require as much, but gave you greater bounty. Okay. So I guess one piece of advice so far, though we'll see that with the last two cards as well, some advice probably too, is pay attention to things that maybe you kind of let lapse or things that you kind of just let go of, especially regarding your passions. Remember the Page of Wands reverse, that feeling of, oh, I lost that spark because I was so bogged down in other things. Revisit those. Pay attention to those if you haven't looked at them in a while. Because like that garden metaphor, you might find that there's things that have been growing without even that much effort that when you turn around, boom, there they are. Okay. Beautiful. And I'm trying to think too if there's any specific... Well, we'll keep going with your fourth and your fifth card to see if they can tell us a little bit more about what those like other unexpected things are that you didn't require as many resources. But I might pull some extra clarifiers on those too. We have the Devil reversed. Okay, it's something that'll free you. This is a very beautiful card to get in the near future. Reversed. Upright, I describe the Devil as a feeling of being trapped, a feeling of being stuck. Okay. But in the near future here, very soon, pile two, you're going to be freed. You're going to be let go of. Okay, maybe especially too if, say, it was like a job that was bogging you down, you're going to finally have the opportunity to leave that place. Okay, although I think, like I said, you're already kind of on the cusp of it because you have that noticing things energy of the Four of Cups in your present position, but especially reversed. But Devil reversed especially is next in the near future. Okay, we finally got the key. We can leave the jail cell that we were stuck and trapped in and not very happy in. Okay, so lots of that process, a lot of that progress too. Those winds of change here in the very near future. It's like things also looked very bleak, especially because when I look at this Devil card specifically, it's very black and white. And it makes me think once again, it was like where you were before, or where you're leaving at least, if you're still there. You did not see the gray things. You did not see the silver linings because it was just this stark, either good or bad. Sometimes we get stuck in those mindsets in life when we're so busy and when we're so burnt out. It's like, I don't know, maybe things kind of seemed like, I don't know, even those periods of time in life where because you're so stressed and anxious and burnt out, even small things that didn't used to bug you as much anymore, all of a sudden they bug you a lot more. I'm hearing that specifically for you, pile two. But that's the past energy that's going away. I think that's also what you're being freed of, or freed from here too in the near future with that Devil reversed, is that letting go of things seeming so stark and bleak. It's like finally now we see the sun beyond that jail cell or beyond those trees. Just like the sun peeking out with your Six of Swords, I just realized too. But anyways, yes, you're being freed very soon. And then we have Judgment reversed. Interesting. This one might be a piece of advice being reversed in the outcome position. You are on your way to very many beautiful things here, pile 2. We already discussed multiple wonderful things, but if there is a piece of advice from Spirit for you today, it is think about in ways that you could even level up more. That's a really good keyword I like to use, or phrase I like to use with the Judgment card, is leveling up. Sometimes it can literally mean negative judgment too, though, it reversed. So do keep in mind that I think you may have a tendency as you move into this new chapter to judge yourself a little bit too harshly. I think it's that kind of black and white thinking I was talking about, but also, you might regret, oh man, I stayed so long in that place. Why didn't I leave earlier? Why didn't I notice things were getting that bad? Hence, like the Four of Cups energy, finally noticing something, right? But Spirit is saying not to judge yourself for that as a piece of advice, but also with the level up interpretation of judgment. Think about in ways too that life could get even better than just the average, or even better than just good, because I think you have an opportunity here that you're on the cusp of to find that happiness that you were lacking in the very beginning there with the 10 of Cups reversed, okay? Because you'll finally be freed enough to follow it. That's what they're saying there in terms of advice. So don't just limit yourself to improvements just where you are right now, although those are great things, don't get me wrong, and they're coming. There's improvements with everything we've been discussing, but at the same time, I guess to summarize, the Judgment reversed card to me is like Spirit saying to you, broaden your horizons in terms of broadening your expectations and broadening the scope of your goals. Okay, so especially too, if you have a goal that you've been thinking about as I've been explaining all of this, where you're like, oh yes, this applies, this thing and that thing applies to this particular goal, think bigger, think wider, okay? Because I think there's potential there for something even greater to come along if you do think of it in a greater capacity or like a wider scope than you are right now, which, I mean, that's naturally fall into that, because when we're just trying to get away from somewhere bad or somewhere we're not happy, we're just like, okay, I'll take an average experience at this point because my experience up to this point has been just crap, right? But Spirit is saying don't settle just for average. Widen the scope to accept even greater. Or with your goal too, if it's a goal you've been working on. Think bigger. Because you might get to an even better place. It might surprise you with that goal if you do allow it an even wider scope than you're expecting or planning for right now. Okay. So lots of beautiful things coming for you today, pile 2. Good things coming from a decision that you're making. Things finally ending that you maybe thought would draw on a lot longer. Actually, they might end faster than you expect, as that beautiful thing that, quietly is growing in your life too. But also new chapters coming faster than you expected, and moving away from that unhappiness and moving towards places that are freer and allow you greater range. I kind of see it almost as like you were stuck in this little tiny, cave that limited your capacity, that limited your ability to grow in terms of the goals and the things that you want to do and achieve. And then finally, it's like Spirit is showing me you moving to a meadow now. It's like this wide open space. And you're like, okay, here I can breathe. Here there's room to plant the things or build the things that I want to grow. Okay, so it's a really good summary, is moving from cave, which is great for shelter, great for, survival, but sometimes we need the open air and the ability to see the light on the horizon that the meadow affords us, not blocked out by rock and stone and, well, same thing with the woods too, blocked out by trees, just like we see with the Devil card, okay? So expect more freedom too. Wonderful. So that was a reading today on the beautiful thing, or for you, plural, multiple beautiful things that are quietly growing in your life. If you liked the reading, if it resonated, if it helped you, please please comment, please subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, and thank you so much if you choose to do any one of those 3 things, if not more than one. And as we say in our tradition on Lone Pine Tarot, I wish you a wonderful rest of your day or your night, pile 2, and I hope to see you again in the woods, or meadow, I guess. Not so much in the woods. We want broad open spaces, right? But yes, I hope to see you again very soon. Bye, pile 2. Hi there, pile number 3. Welcome to your reading on a beautiful thing that is quietly growing in your life. And of course, as you recall, you were drawn to either the object of the seashell or, of course, the pile leader card of the birch tree. So we'll set those over here to the left to begin. We're going to draw actually Lenormand and Tarot to start your reading today. So let's do that. Calling on Spirit for the highest best good of pile 3. Could you tell us a little bit more about these beautiful things, or maybe one? But every reading today has had more than one beautiful thing, so probably more than one. Anyway, Spirit, beautiful things for pile 3. Thank you. Quietly growing. They didn't expect. We have, I'm drawn to this one, the holly tree. Very interesting too. It's actually the winter variant of the tree in this particular deck, which is kind of fitting with your birch tree too. Birch are one of the first plants, or trees I should say, that grow after the winter season. They're also one of the first trees that will grow after a place has been felled by wildfire or cleared out. They're one of those quick, fast species of fast-growing trees. So we'll, of course, pull tarot clarifiers on these Lenormand cards, but I am already feeling pile 3 that there's something that's been kind of slow and kind of stuck in stasis that finally you're going to see some movement and progress on, especially because when I look at this holly tree, it almost looks like it's finally melting. Like finally the snow is coming off, and we see that progress just like when there is a spring thaw after the long, cold winter, but we'll keep going. Then we have, the boy or the child, as it's known in most decks. Number 13 can be something that we are new to, something that we're learning. Could be literally related to a child in your life as well. We'll see what the clarifiers say on that. Spirit, can you clarify these for me, please? Thank you. If I can get the deck together, there we go. You'd think being a pocket deck that my tiny hands would be able to shuffle it easier, but not always. Okay, yes, we have the 5 of Cups, which typically would mean a sadness or a hardship of some sort. But remember what I was saying before with the birch and the holly tree specifically. I see it as the overcoming of that hardship or that sorrow. And, I didn't even talk about the meaning of the tree in Lenormand yet. So actually, the traditional meaning of the tree in Lenormand pile 3 is about growth. Sometimes it can also mean family. So I wonder if a lot of you've been having a sorrow or a hardship with your family recently that feels like it took a really long time to thaw, like it was a very long winter with this particular thing, or perhaps you're still in that winter because, of course, this reading is about the quiet, beautiful thing you're kind of not expecting, okay? I feel like that's part of what's going to thaw, although it can also be, the tree can be related to health and growth, and as I said, yeah, sometimes family, but yeah, health and growth as well. So if you've also been seeing some struggles in those areas too, I feel like that's also part of what is thawing. And on top of that, with the birch tree, the other meaning of this particular card is a new chapter starting because of that spring symbolism that they have, because of that symbolism that they have in terms of being the first tree to grow after devastation, wildfire clearing, as I said. So it's like the old finally being cleared out and new, vibrant energy finally being welcomed in. Okay, so especially if you've been having struggles with family recently, or maybe it's been a whole kind of life thing. Of course, all of us are different with our relationships with our family, but whether it be recent or kind of a whole life thing, I think you're entering a new chapter here you're not expecting regarding family or health or growth, where you were having hardship or sorrow before because of that 5 of Cups. But let's look at the boy. Let's look at the child. We'll see what the clarifier on that one is. We have the 9 of Pentacles, the cat that finally got the yarn. And that is a card of satisfaction. And I always explain it as a card of we have put in the effort, we put in the work, we put the quarter in the gumball machine, and we get the candy back out. Okay, so there's some sort of satisfaction like that coming where you've been working very hard on something regarding a child or some sort of new venture that you have been learning about, pile 3. Okay, so some of you, as I said, it might literally be physically a kid. Like if you do have kids, it could be related to your child. So it could be like even a success of theirs that they've been working very hard on, or you've been trying to help them and nurture them through to get to a success. That I'm saying that quiet, beautiful thing is their success, which therefore, of course, makes you happy because, you know, it's for your kid. But even if you don't have children, even if you don't, or it's not like something that's relevant to you in terms of like a child that you're currently recognizing in your life right now, as I said, it could be like a new venture, something new that you have been, because oftentimes child symbolism in tarot and cartomancy can also represent a new project that we have been nurturing to life, even if it's not, you know, as I said, a literal child. Okay, so I do see satisfaction in that area of life coming for you too soon. Okay, also combining that with the tree, a new growth, a new chapter too with this thing that you've been working on or with this child. Okay, so lots of progress, a lot of overcoming sorrow and that thaw that we talked about too. Let us next look at your next oracle deck. Spirit, what else do you want to say to pile 3 about this? Same beautiful things, expanding on them, or a new one as well? Every pile today has had like tons of beautiful things coming, so it's been wonderful. I've been able to report lots of positive changes, so I think that's the same for you today, pile 3. We have Renewal of Peace, number 13. Look at that cute little, almost looks like a fae baby kind of. And then all the woodland creatures around it. Finally, we have peace. So there's something peaceful coming along, a new period of peace as well. We'll grab a clarifier or two on that to be sure, but I think, especially where you've been kind of stressed out or burned out lately, pile 3, that this is part of what's going to improve. Where it's felt chaotic, you'll finally be able to rest. I wonder if even some of you have been struggling with sleep lately, with insomnia, either it be like just, you know, sometimes there's insomnia that's literally like you don't even know why you're staying awake, you just do. Or sometimes medications can cause that too, but also you get insomnia because you're worried, because you're anxious. You're like, well, what the heck? Why does my brain keep focusing on these things? So I feel like part of that too is for some reason, some reduction of that anxiety that's been causing those of you having sleep problems lately. But we'll see what the clarifiers say. We've got the 7 of Wands reversed. Okay, feeling surrounded, feeling defensive. And then we have the Ace of Wands reversed, feeling burnt out. Okay. You know, pile 3, have you been having a lot of issues recently with a feeling as if you're kind of surrounded on all sides with a bunch of different fires you have to put out? Because I feel that's that energy of the Ace of Wands reversed combined with the 7 of Wands reversed. It's lots of fire, and especially because, you know, like the meaning of 7 of Wands is having to be defensive in some way and feeling like we're losing the battle, especially because it's reversed. And on top of that, Ace of Wands, well, reversed, it can sometimes mean like, oh, things have been kind of a little bit not sparking, or they've been like too many fires sparking, things like that. You're going to find a period of time here you're not expecting in terms of not having to put those fires out anymore. It could be related to this family or health or child stuff that we were talking about before, or in general in your life. Wherever you're recognizing that resonates, that message of, I got to put out all these fires, we do have that renewal of peace finally, okay? And I think it's because of all this new energy coming into your life here in this next chapter. It's because of old energy clearing out that maybe you don't even necessarily notice. I mean, sometimes, yeah, we actively have to think to ourselves, okay, what energy am I going to clear out? What am I going to actually mentally prepare to remove from my life to allow more space for other things? But sometimes the universe clears those things out for us, okay? And because of, especially the topic of this reading being, you know, quiet, beautiful things, you're not really expecting them. I think it's more the universe this time with this for you. It's more the universe is clearing out that old and being like, okay, now you don't have to deal with putting out those fires anymore. Like that was one chapter of your life. You already did everything with that you needed to learn, etc. And now you can do new things, new chapters, which is also reflected, like I said, not just in the Birch, but also the child card being new chapters too. We will also look at your main tarot spread. We have kind of a timeline here. I read it as a timeline, but also it might shed more light on other things coming that are beautiful and quiet, that are blooming. You're not expecting them, as I said. We have, well, this one really wanted to come out. It's like falling out the bottom. We have the 3 of Cups. Something to do with social situations, pile 3. Social situations going well. Something to do possibly too with a friend. Okay, that can also be another interpretation of 3 of Cups is like social groups, not just events. And in fact, I think I'll pull a clarifier on that one before I pull the rest of your cards. So I'm going to set this down as it is right here. And then we'll pull one of the mini tarot cards. Spirit, can you tell me more about the social situation? Beautiful thing. Or social group, or the friend thing. Thank you. We have Temperance reversed. Okay, greater moderation, where it was out of balance before. Okay, and justice, fairness. Look at that pile 3. And on top of that, that's lots of major arcana with that. There's something massive been happening recently, especially because this is the the inciting incident card, this 3 of Cups. I kind of see that as what kind of started this whole arc of your life where these beautiful things are coming about, where I think you've been dealing with a lack of balance with social situations and social events. Or people, or there's one person socially that's been causing some issues. Another beautiful thing coming because of those clarifiers is literally that balance righting itself that was out of balance before with the Temperance reversed card to balance literally because, I mean, look at the justice scales. It's literally a balance, right? Wonder if you might be a Libra too, or the person you've been dealing with is a Libra too. But either way though, you're getting justice. So if there's been an injustice with social stuff recently, I would say to expect that to turn around for the positive. That's another beautiful thing coming, so keep that in mind. And then we have, for your second card, the Child or the Page of Wands upright. Wonderful, a new spark, especially after we were burnt out before with the Ace of Wands, 7 of Wands reversed energy, not so good. But then we have the Page of Wands upright, which can mean actually too in the timeline, in the recent past, maybe you've already kind of been feeling this invigoration of this new chapter of, finally the satisfaction with these things, or with, the child project you've been working on, but also with things finally thawing out after that time of sorrow and winter. So things are finally heating up again for you, pile 3, especially in terms of your passions, in terms of the things that you're creative with. A lot of you, if you're creative people, I think you're well on your way here to an arc of a lot of increased creativity and exploration. Not just creativity in terms of productivity, but exploring new things. So I wonder if a lot of you recently have been trying to learn new art forms, learn new creative passions. Like maybe you typically paint or write, but then you're like, you know what? I'm going to learn clay work today, or I'm going to learn, candle making today, or whatever it might be. Of course, it could be like a million different hobbies, but that's another sign, too, that a lot of these good things are coming out of that as well. Even if you don't tangibly think, well, how could, justice with a friend or social event and everything else we talked about, how could that come out of creative passions or projects? I'm hearing it's because of your renewed vigor for life because of those things, that it's like... 1 second, I'm tapping in. It's really weird, and it's kind of funny. They're showing me... Oh, have you guys seen the old Popeye cartoon? Popeye the Sailor Man? And he eats the spinach, and all of a sudden he's just like the strongest thing ever, and he can just sock someone across a room. Maybe you've been eating a lot of spinach recently. I know it's really weird. Probably you're like laughing behind the screen. You're like, what the heck are you talking about? But anyways, for some reason they're showing me Popeye the Sailor Man eating his spinach, and all of a sudden he gets this renewed vigor, and he's like, okay, now I can punch things across the room. Now I can beat the bad guy or whatever. Whatever happens in whatever episode with that cartoon. It's been years since I've seen it, but you know what I mean. Like, you're entering a phase of being Popeye the Sailor Man, or you already have kind of started that. Maybe you've been eating healthier recently, too. If it's not even specifically spinach, but either way. And then we have the Hanged Man. Beautiful, the perspective of this card. I love how it's like standing on the moon looking at the world. And all of a sudden, the world seems a lot smaller than it really was. So it seemed big at the time when we stood upon it. But when we look at it from a bird's eye, or I guess moon perspective, we realize it wasn't quite as big as we thought. A little bit smaller. It makes me think of, was it Carl Sagan that said that? There was a picture of the Earth that I think one of the Voyager probes that NASA launched took of Earth from very far away. The picture's called the Pale Blue Dot. And I think it was Carl Sagan. Correct me in the comments if you know better. But he talked about how all of human history occurred. Seems like it's so much at the time when we're sitting here on the Earth. But all of human history happened on just that tiny little pixel, that little blue dot on that picture. And that's what the Hangman is all about, pile 3. And sorry, kind of getting in a roundabout way. I was nerding out about astronomy for a second. Forgive me, but yes, it was basically about new perspectives and seeing things in different ways. And especially this particular card is about seeing things as smaller than they really were. I think these problems that you were having, these hardships and these sorrows, what I'm hearing is that, yes, not to say that they were small. Okay, it's not that. But I think you're entering this new phase here where everything will be going so up, 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 and so far away, too. Like, thinking even about the distance of, like, how far the Voyager probes went, still are going. It'll seem so far away that you won't even really, like, I don't know, it's like so much gets cut off and it doesn't affect you anymore. You're like, I'm off on new horizons now. I'm so far beyond that place. And it's going to happen faster than you think, I'm hearing. And it opens your mind up to these new possibilities, into these new horizons, as I was saying before. That it's like this peace because of distance, too. Because remember your renewal of peace card, too. I don't know, are you physically separating from, like, these people, or, like, this friend, or, like, this family group? Like, maybe you stopped talking to them recently, or you've been considering it. I think it's part of that, too. Like, if you haven't done it already, or you just did it, you're not going to realize the amount of actual peace and perspective being away from that negative energy is going to give you until you're, like, farther away, and you're like, oh, like, my life is so much different now. It's that new energy I was talking about with the Birch and the child card, etc. But, yeah, let's keep going before I nerd out more. And we have Justice again. Look at that. Not as a clarifier, but as your main card for the 4th position, pile 3. Okay. So in the present position, of course, we had the Hangman, that new perspective. We're finally moving away, seeing things as smaller than they were. We're distant in a good way. And then in the near future, you have things finally feeling right again, feeling like things are fair, feeling like things are balanced, feeling like things are the way they're supposed to be in terms of what's fair to you. Okay? So also expect in the near future beautiful things happening regarding that justice, which could literally mean the justice system if you've been wrapped up maybe in some legal thing going on, or even if it's not, from a government perspective or civic perspective, justice increasing in terms of, I don't know, it's like, especially after you remove that influence, it's like you're finally able to get that justice and that fairness you've been seeking because of that peace too. It kind of goes hand in hand, where like you get more peace, therefore you get more justice, but you get more justice, therefore you get more peace. And then too, especially remembering the child card, if you do have a child in your life where justice has been kind of an issue recently, I'm hearing some positive developments with that too. Or with the project if it's not a literal child, okay? And let's keep going for your final outcome or advice card. We have the Guardian of Pentacles, which is the Queen of Pentacles reversed. So this is going to be an advice card, pile 3. Okay? Because it's reversed in the final position. And I would say, well, it can be a little prediction. And hear me out. As a prediction, the Queen of Pentacles reversed can mean a feeling of lack. But hear me out. It's not actual tangible scarcity like it would be with the King of Pentacles reversed. Okay, he's more about external manifestation with money and stability with being Pentacles. She's more about internal feelings regarding security and stability. There might be here a little bit of a, what's the word? I can't think of the right word right now. A little bit of a, I'm sorry, I'm blanking out. I'm having a brain fart. Not a desire. I'll just say a way of where you might lean more towards feeling, even after all of this progress, that things are still insecure, or you still lack a stability of some sort, or you feel as if still inside there isn't enough of that peace or enough of that justice. I'm going to tell you something I told something similar to another pile today. I can't remember which one it was, but basically their message too was kind of similar, was that just because you don't see the physical outside tangible evidence of something doesn't mean that there isn't more going on underneath, which of course is a main theme of this reading being, quiet, beautiful things. But at the same time, especially when it comes to finances, stability, career, etc., with the Pentacles card having come into play, look under the surface more. Okay, which is very fitting because look at justice literally is a pebble hitting a pond. Look under the surface when it comes to those things here in the near future. And recognize that there might be more beauty there, and there might be more positive developments in finances and career, etc., than you're currently allowing yourself to see because you fear a lack of enough. Okay, I know it's kind of a mouthful for me to explain it that way, but that's the best way I'm kind of, can interweave the meaning of the Queen of Pentacles reversed with what I'm seeing intuitively. Just know where things seem as if they're less stable, or you feel like things are less secure, especially in those areas of life here in the near future. Know that you might not be seeing it clearly, and there might be more positive developments coming in those areas that you're not expecting. Okay, so it's actually really kind of a reassurance there. It's like Spirit saying, okay, you might have a little bit of a worry in the near future with this thing or these things, but take a deep breath. Maybe it is just something that you are basing on your internal feeling of security rather than an objective truth of a feeling of security. Okay. So, just to summarize pile 3 with everything, beautiful things coming your way quietly in terms of thawing a lack of progress, letting go of old hardships, especially related to, family, health, and growth. Remember that meaning with the tree Lenormand. And then to satisfaction with either a child or a project that has been kind of, quote unquote, your baby that you've been working on, finally finding that satisfaction with the 9 of Pentacles. Remember the feeling of having to put out so many fires with that 7 of Wands reversed and Ace of Wands reversed. You're going to find that peace. Finally, you want to put out so many dang fires. And just overall, too, remember, that social situation going better, or that thing with that friend, and distance that's peaceful and reinvigorating. Remember that Popeye metaphor, getting your spinach finally, and you can finally punch problems out of the way, so to speak. And justice was especially emphasized in your reading. So a lot of justice coming your way as well. Just remember not to let your internal feelings of security or lack of determine your I can't talk today. Determine your reality is what I meant to say. Outside of what you might feel necessarily inside, I guess. I'm not really putting that in a very eloquent way, but you know what I mean. Everything I said about the Queen of Pentacles reversed earlier, okay? New beginnings, new energy, old energy, go bye-bye. Just to summarize, okay? So that was your reading for today at my wonderful pile 3 on beautiful things, plural, as you see in many, that are growing in your life. I hope the reading helped you liked it, and of course that it resonated. And if so, please please comment, please subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already. And thank you so much if you choose to do any one of those 3 things, if not more than one, today after your reading is concluded here. And as we say in our tradition on Lone Pine Tarot, I wish you a wonderful rest of your day or your night, and I hope to see you again in the woods someday soon. Goodbye, pile 3.